Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Columbus This Week with Trevor and Eric, and we have a guest here observing us, making sure that we do not do anything that violates the Constitution of the United States. Our friend Ben, and
You have anything to say, Ben? They're probably not going to hear you because you're far away from the mics. But you want to try and yell something?
we can translate for you.
No, just hello.
Ben says hello, and I think that's it for Ben. So, okay. So, Trevor, so it's Thanksgiving next week. Hooray for turkey and wine and beer and football
Genocide.
in America, and not hooray for the genocide of all the Native Americans, but so that's coming up, which is cool. We have some pretty cool events going on, and the city of Columbus release their budget for 2018, so we're gonna chat about that a little bit, and then we have some other cool tech news, like the new Tesla semi truck, which we'll talk about the economic implications of that, which will be pretty cool for non-truckers.
You gonna be purchasing one?
Huh?
You gonna be purchasing one?
Yeah, I already placed my pre-order. I'm gonna drive that to work every day. So
Good to hear.
I wonder if it would like. I wonder if you could. I mean, it would be ridiculous, but I wonder if you could actually like buy that instead of buying like a Ferrari, and then like it costs like the cost of ownership be lower than a Ferrari.
Well,
I
I
bet
mean,
it would be.
the cost of ownership on both is probably outside of a normal human being's budget.
True. Okay, so before we get started with the event, so there was some big news we wanted to talk about with the with regard to the I guess everybody's favorite recreational pastime,
What? Wait, what?
marijuana story.
Oh, right. All right. So, the first confirmed death.
Oh, it's terrible.
The first confirmed death of overdose via marijuana has happened, or actually happened about 2 years ago. It was just confirmed.
So they like did an autopsy and then.
Yeah, and this has been a
I guess we shouldn't laugh about that, but
this has been a 2 year ongoing process to try and confirm the cause of death. And in Colorado, we now have the first confirmed case of marijuana overdose.
This is what happens when you legalize marijuana. A baby dies.
You weren't supposed to spoil that point.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So the caveat here to the story, now obviously, is that the person who died was an 11-month-old infant.
Yeah. So to I guess give our listeners some background information, babies can overdose from many things, including I think you mentioned honey is one of those.
Well, they don't overdose from honey, but botulism is a risk.
Yeah, or whatever. Anyway, so babies can die from like ingesting things they shouldn't ingest.
And
As it turns out.
And babies put everything in their mouth. So
Yeah, as it turns out.
So if you live in Colorado, don't leave your J's laying around your kids.
Yeah. So very tragic, but now I guess whenever people say marijuana doesn't hurt anybody, I can't even say it with a straight face because it's so funny.
See, here's the for some people this is the real tragedy. Their argument that no one has ever overdosed on marijuana has gone out the window.
Yeah.
Never mind the child. I think a lot. That's what a lot of people lost.
You know what's
today.
crazy about that is it actually happened in Colorado. So now people are going to be like, "This baby is the poster child of the harm that marijuana does," and that's what you get, Colorado, you sinners.
I mean, it's unfortunate, but I mean, there's no real big takeaway from this. Like, babies die from all kinds of crazy things.
Human beings should at different ages and different stages of their lives should not ingest things that they're not supposed to. So like if a baby overdosed on like bleach, then
Yeah,
it's this is like an equivalent thing.
You shouldn't even leave Legos lying around, babies.
Right, because so we're gonna do ban Legos now. That'd be miserable. But
all right, Eric.
All right, so let's move on. We got some events.
Yep, events.
Okay, so this doesn't have it kind of has a specific date, but it's going on throughout the holidays. So they are lighting the holiday lights on the Scioto Mile downtown. I believe that's happening on the 19th. And then speaking of things on the 19th, the Ohio Chinese Lantern Festival is going on at the fairgrounds. So stop by that. That's pretty cool. They have a bunch of like balloons with lights in them. I guess it kind of does the event a disservice, but
So by the time this podcast goes out, these events will have been over.
well, no, the Chinese festival is like ongoing.
Oh, okay. It just starts today.
Yeah, yeah.
All right,
Same
good.
thing with the holiday lights. It's like an ongoing thing.
Okay, so they're going up today. So by the time this podcast goes out, they will already be up.
Yeah.
So look for those.
Yep. Another cool event that's going on November 20th from 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. There's there's an event called Sundown Rundown at the Idea Foundry. Sundown Rundown, they do a series of events. This one just happens to be at the Idea Foundry, and it's raising capital with investors, like a seminar. So if you're looking to raise capital with investors, you should definitely go to that event. And if you haven't been to the Idea Foundry, it's a perfect excuse to go because that place is awesome. And then on the 21st from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. at the Learning Lab at the Columbus Metropolitan Library, like the main branch downtown, there's a small business finance and funding series with Jerome Jones, who's a certified business advisor. So stop by there if you're looking into starting your own business. And then on the 24th, which is the day after Thanksgiving or Thanksgiving, I don't know when Thanksgiving is, but
It's always on Thursday.
what? Yeah, but what day of the week?
Thursday or Friday.
Okay, so
Friday is the
Friday.
24th.
So Friday, after you get back from your miserable life of Black Friday shopping, you can go to the lighting, the holiday lights event at the Columbus Commons. It starts at 5, goes on to 11. So cool holiday stuff. Plus Thanksgiving's coming up. So Merry Thanksgiving, Happy Thanksgiving. I think it's happy, right?
Is it me or is it poor? I don't think it matters. Is it me or is it poor planning though that you have all these capital and investment and like starting stuff up events during the same week that people like run away to go see their families?
It is. I don't know.
It's almost like it's not as bad as having these events like during Christmas week, but there's no other time that would have been worse.
Yeah. Well, that's not my problem. So yeah, but so happy Thanksgiving to all of our listeners. And if you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, well, you should, just because you can get a bunch of food and
And get fat.
yeah, and get fat, which is the American dream. And then the next day you can just go blow a bunch of money on stuff you don't need.
I mean, really, if you're not overweight, you're a minority in America now.
Yeah, I feel like underweight people need to form a political party.
I think they have one. It's called the Green Party.
Oh yeah, that's a good party. All right, so those are some of the events. So there are many events going on, but we just pick out some ones that we think look cool and notable. So that's why they're there. All right. So speaking of getting fat, Duck Donuts is opening up a location in Dublin. Trevor, have you had Duck Donuts yet?
Yeah, I've had quite. Yeah. Let's just say yes.
They are so good. It's a treat. Do you have once like every 5 months, not every weekend or whatever, like some people do? But I think it's cool that they're coming to Dublin because I don't think Dublin has like a donut shop, so that's a perfect location for that.
For actual donuts, though, I still think Buckeye Donuts better.
I do like Buckeye Donuts. To me, it's like I could take either one on either day.
Well,
They're pretty great.
So I feel like specialty, like weird donuts, Duck Donuts is better at, and then like the classics. That's really where Buckeye.
Yeah, that's where they shine through. Yeah, we used to get Buckeye Donuts like every other weekend, and then we had to stop doing that for obvious reasons.
Because you gained 10 pounds.
Yeah. So yeah. Well, if you're eating donuts and having breakfast stouts every day or every Saturday, it'll do it to you. Not that I was actually doing that, but the donut part's true. So in related happy news, Franklin County is breaking ground on a new jail. So I think it's like a $75 million jail that's going on. So that's not really that cool actually, but
hey, did you know we have one of the largest per capita prison populations in the country?
In Franklin County or just Ohio or what?
Ohio. Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of states ship their prisoners here because we have so many prisons.
Well, if we're going to do that, we should make some money then. Oh, it's $175 million.
What do you mean we should make some money? We're making so much money off those prisons.
I'm cool with that.
Ohio's like the best place to be a criminal justice person in the country.
Why? Just because they're all the prisoners?
First of all, we have the best school for criminal justice in the country. Cincy.
Well, I don't know that.
I'm sorry.
Well, I don't know everything. I mean, I know almost everything. Okay, that's cool. And then and then in related actual happy news, there's a They're planning on putting in a 220 unit mixed use property, I think, in the Discovery District, which includes like, so that's where like the Metro Library is, Columbus Community or Columbus College of Art and Design, like that area of the town. So that's good to just get more people downtown, more actual like population density. That's what I was looking for. So increase the population density down there, which is a good thing. So,
Hong Kong, here we come.
no, I don't want that. That's the opposite side of bad. So on one hand, you have bad like
Atlanta.
Yeah. So you have like sprawl Atlanta, and then on the other hand, you have like New Delhi or something. Like both of those, neither of those are desirable. So I mean, I would pick Atlanta if I had to pick between the two of those. But
I mean, there are people who like either. It all depends.
I mean, and then they should move to Atlanta, I guess, or whatever that other place is. New Delhi, that's what I mentioned. But there's other places that are equally like bad in terms of
all right. Is that all we have for construction?
Yeah. I mean, there's other stuff going on, but those are the most interesting ones. So
all right, well, let's move on to our new segment, the 2 minutes hate.
you gotta say it more enthusiastic, like, oh, I can't wait to like get in here and hate.
Sure. So, Eric, I've got some great news for you. Great news.
Okay.
All right. Did you know that in an average workplace, about 37% of people admit to during work time watching Netflix?
How do you do that? How could you like do it in the bathroom, right? Is that what you said?
Well, no. 12% admit that they watch it like while using the bathroom.
Yeah. How? Why would you do that? It's so stinky in the bathroom. Like, you go in there, and it's just, like, nasty. Why would you sit in there any longer than you had to be?
Okay, well, how do you feel about the 25% of people who are doing it at work but not in the bathroom?
Well, so I will say this.
They're smarter?
Well, it's work smarter, not harder. But if you're, like, just sitting there watching Netflix... Well, are they watching Netflix while they work? Because I can understand that. Because, like, I could sit at home and watch TV and work. But
I mean, in my personal experience, I've seen both. I've seen people who just don't have anything to do, and so
that's the fault of the company. And I think the person should just take every advantage of that in that case.
All
I just
right.
don't understand the bathroom thing. Because, like, I hate... Like, I just want to get out of the bathroom as fast as I
So
can.
this is perfectly reasonable to you. You just tell them to not do it in the bathroom.
Yeah, like, just go... I mean, just hide, like, in a closet.
There's somebody who works in my building who actually like spends like 4 hours a day in the break room just like watching anime and playing video games. I'm not kidding you. Like, I don't know what they actually are paid to do.
Jeez, that doesn't make... It just doesn't make... Like, I can't... I don't even have any words because it just doesn't make any sense.
All right.
Ugh, okay.
In local news, this one will make you laugh a little bit. Representative Wes Goodman has resigned due to accusations of marital infidelity, and more interestingly, homosexual marital infidelity.
So
he's married to a woman, and he's
on with but he's gay.
He's being accused
Sure.
of. Let's just
That's fine. That's fair.
And
So
he
why would you resign over that? Like, what does the resignation do? That's what I wonder. Like, when you resign, like, what does it? I mean, what does that mean? That doesn't mean like it's not like the accusation goes away. It's not like you hit a reset button. So like, why not just keep your job?
Well, my guess is he resigned because it's true, and he's trying to get out of the public spotlight ASAP.
Why?
Well, because you don't want to drag your family through that.
Just don't. Just like ignore it.
Well, you're probably gonna go through a divorce regardless. You can't just like ignore like.
Yeah, I mean, like, you're gonna go. I'm just saying, like, why lose your job over it too?
I mean, I don't think he's going a second round regardless.
Yeah, but I'm just like, I mean, how much time do you have left? Like another year or like a month?
Well, I don't think people are going into politics for the money. So
yeah, but he's still getting. It's still like a job though. Like, I wouldn't. I mean,
well, the reason,
like, how many people? Like, what about all those people who like work regular jobs and they're getting divorces for whatever reason? Like, they don't just quit their jobs.
Well, the thing is, there's like a career path that this man is on that has just been like completely shorn, and so he has to go find something else to do.
Yeah, but like, why not just keep making money like while you do that? That's what I would do. If I would just stay in office and just keep getting a paycheck unless somebody like actually makes you not be in office.
Well, the thing is though, if you bury this, it's probably a lot better for your future job perspectives than if so it's
no, but anytime you run, somebody's going to bring it up. So I mean,
well, no. He's definitely done in politics, but I'm sure he has some degree that can be applied to non-politics, right? Like half the people who go into politics have like law degrees. Would you rather there be like 12 articles about you and your gay infidelity, or would you rather there be like 300 because you let this thing ride?
I don't think it makes a difference. I really don't. If somebody finds out about it, like if you know about it, why? I mean, it's a fact. It doesn't matter if it's repeated 400 times.
Okay, so let's say Anthony Weiner just like.
Yeah, doesn't he still have a job?
Well, no, but I don't.
He's finally going to jail. But
I don't think so. But what I'm saying is, he ended up resigning. But what if, like, right when the first story broke, years and years ago, like
he didn't resign, did he?
No, he didn't. But what I'm saying is, what if he just like resigned and then like hid from the public view? I think things would have gone a lot better for him as far as people knowing who he is, because like everybody knows the name now.
Well, I mean,
when the first story broke, nobody knew who he was.
Yeah, but I don't think you can like compare it. So like I basically like forgot about that, and I was just like, yeah, that like I was just like, oh, another scumbag politician is still being a scumbag politician. But then, I mean, I didn't like think anything differently. Like I just forgot about it, and then. But I mean, he's actually like doing bad stuff, like texting, like soliciting sex from minors or whatever it was.
I mean, infidelity's not great.
Yeah, but it's not illegal.
But that's an aside. All right.
I'm just saying, I don't think you need to lose your job over it, because most Americans don't lose their job over it.
All right. Last up in our now long 2 minutes hate.
It's like 4 minutes of hate.
Twitter has announced that they are closing a loophole in their Twitter safety policy by banning anyone who signal boosts the messages of any hate groups listed on the official list given by the Anti-Defamation League, which, if you don't know, that's a Jewish anti-Semitism sort of watchdog group, and then the SPLC, the Southern Poverty Law Center.
So yet again, social media companies are defining what's acceptable and not. Not a fan.
I mean, so I think it's worth noting for our listeners. I don't know if people know this or not, but the SPLC has put a lot of very, very questionable people on their hate list, including Majid Nawaz, the guy who wrote the book Radical. He's a former like ex-Islamist himself. And then the FBI actually in 2015 stopped using the SPLC list because there were so many
like BS.
Well, non-valuable entries to them, right? Like if they're tracking white supremacist groups and like some dumb militia ends up on there, that's not very valuable for the FBI.
Right.
So yeah, I think this is really bad.
We could probably talk about Twitter every week, or Facebook, or any social media
I
company.
think Jack just doesn't know how to run his business, honestly.
I mean, I will say though, Square's pretty good.
You know what else is pretty good? Bootstrap, but
yeah, I do like Bootstrap. Okay,
that's an aside. All right, so that's all I have for our 2 minutes hate. Should we move on to community news?
Yeah, so I'm going to start with your favorite topic, which is Columbus Crew. So, what was it? Hashtag ship the crew.
Yeah, so I was saying we should start hashtag ship the crew and end up
if I used Twitter, I definitely would, and then
we'd
probably be killed.
Yeah, I mean, we would definitely at the very least like have our car keyed. If people knew who we were, this would be yeah.
So,
but I'm getting really sick of the save the crew stuff.
Yeah, I mean we're brave people. So there's
fighting the menace that is the Columbus Crew fans.
Yeah. So I don't really know what to make of this quite yet. I'm sure you're gonna be like insanely negative about it, but apparently, so BrewDog, like you're familiar with them, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
One of many breweries in Columbus.
Yeah. But they have like their like shareholder based model, like crowdfunding based model of like their brew, which is fine. Like I don't have any issues with that, but I'm not gonna say I necessarily have an issue with this, but so they're apparently they're interested in starting a Kickstarter or like a GoFundMe type thing to buy the crew. So it's not going to work because Precourt has no interest in selling the crew. It's not going to work. But I kind of like that this company's like I like their like social community activism piece of it. Like they're trying to do something. I mean, they're getting it's a mutually beneficial relationship because then they get free publicity and they look like good guys. And then if it was possible, like if Precourt would actually sell the crew for like not something stupid, then it would work by keeping that here for the people who care about the crew and like all this stuff. But I don't think it's going to work. So
yeah, but the issue is though everybody knows Precourt's not going to sell the crew because he said he's not going to sell the crew.
Yeah.
So the question then becomes, like, what? I mean, so BrewDog isn't actually committing anything in this; they're just getting free publicity. So is that really an altruistic sort of win-win? Because it looks to me like Brewdog's just coming out ahead.
Well, I mean, maybe. I don't really. At the same time, like, even if they are, I guess I don't really have a problem with it because
Also, what happens to all the GoFundMe money if they can't buy the crew?
I have no idea.
That I'm curious about. I imagine.
I think. Well, I know for Kickstarter it gets refunded.
Right.
Like if you don't hit the minimum. So I mean, there's no way they're gonna rate. Even if Precourt was like, yeah, I'll sell it for like a normal price, they're not gonna raise $70 million.
Yeah, not on GoFundMe, or I mean in general. There was another sort of update I wanted to talk about as far as the crew. The mayor and the city actually sat down and talked with Precourt and
they went out to New York.
Yeah, and MLS officials, and basically what has happened is that the two parties neither are really willing to like put a piece of paper on the table and say this is what we're offering.
Yeah.
And I think that's a huge mistake on behalf of the city in particular, because if nothing happens, if nothing happens, the crew leaves, right? We all agree that's basically what's happening.
I mean, it's likely. I don't think it's 100% just yet.
Especially now that MLS has come out and sort of stood behind Precourt. That was a lot more questionable early on this week when this was happening. But I think MLS is now officially sort of backing Precourt's decision to move.
Yeah. And even further related news, in 2 days, the crew play Toronto for like the first game of the Eastern Conference Finals. So it would be hilarious if the crew go ahead and win a championship. And then it's like, oh, you're going to be with that championship team here? I do not think people anywhere will be happy about that. But go on. I just wanted to mention that. So,
all right. So I think it's a mistake for the city, because if Ginther actually wants to keep the crew here, which I don't know that he and his administration do.
Yeah.
But if the mayor does, it doesn't make sense not to put some offer on the table. Mm-hmm. Because it really, I mean, it helps Precourt in the eye of public opinion, and definitely in the eyes of the MLS if the city won't even make an actual offer. Right? Yeah. There's negotiations happening, but there's no offers happening.
Yeah. I mean, on the other hand, though, it's like, I mean, the city doesn't really have a lot of leverage. So, I mean, I mean, what are they going to do? Like, so no matter what they do, it's a lose-lose situation. So if they put together, hey, so here's the thing. Even if they were like, hey, we will completely fund you a new stadium exactly where you want it, he would just come up with some other excuse and say, oh, well, that's just not good enough. I want also X, Y, and Z. So there's no incentive for them. So I don't even know why they met, because he's leaving no matter what. Well, and he's just going to keep one-upping whatever offer they would give him.
Well, the thing is, he still has to have MLS agree. And if he makes himself look, I mean, if he makes himself look bad and look at like a rogue owner-operator in the eyes of MLS, they're not going to let him move, right?
I do think he already kind of did that, because nobody was MLS was caught by surprise with that. It's not like they were, because otherwise they wouldn't have been fielding like all these expansion team offers from like San Antonio and stuff.
Right. I mean, what I'm saying is, like, his relationship was sort of touchy, and I think it was really bad political optics for the city not to make some offer.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I like the crew in that they're like okay. I don't really care about it. I mean, I care, like I would prefer them here, but I say screw it. Like go to Austin. Like who cares? I mean,
like every crew fan.
Yeah. I mean, I get that sucks, but just stop being a Major League Soccer fan and hit them in their wallet. Don't go to any of the games. So I think they have to stay here next year too. Is that right?
I'm not aware, but the thing is,
I don't think they can. I think they have one more season. Like I think they have to stay for like the 2018 season, because there was the thing with all the season pass holders. They like wanted to cancel their season passes because they really like saying they were leaving. So I say if you're listening and you're like part of #SaveTheCrew, I can't believe I said if you're part of a hashtag, whatever. But if you're part of like if you're a person who cares about the crew, next year, do not go to any single game, because this guy is. He's taking the team no matter what. Like even for I was listening to 97.1, like the sports radio channel. So even and I don't know if I mentioned this to you earlier, but so in years past, when the crew when they were selling out games, like they would actually set up bleachers, because they have like a spot where they can set up like additional bleachers, and they were selling
set up additional seating.
Yeah, so they were selling those seats. You think they're doing that this year when the crew? And why would they not do that? It's like more money, so. and they're selling out the game. Like they're standing room only for the ticket sale. So you can only buy like a standing room only like ticket right now. So
Well-
why not make more money? And but the bottom line is Precor has absolutely no interest in keeping that team here. Nothing the city could do, even if they came out with some wildly good offer, nothing the city could do would keep them here. And so don't go to any games next year. Just don't go to a single game. Don't give that guy a single penny, and vote with your wallet and say, well, you know what? At least if you're going to leave, at least like this next year, then you just won't like get any ticket sales, and you'll have a big empty stadium and look like an idiot.
Well, the bleachers thing, I think, proves a very interesting point, which I think actually goes against your suggestion, though, in that it shows that Precor doesn't really care about the money, right? If they're not dropping bleachers to increase their attendance and numbers and increase the amount of money that's coming in.
Well, I mean, it's also not. I mean, that isn't that much money, but I think.
I mean, it's still money.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, the actual sales over the course of a year, and like the optics of just having an empty stadium and like having a team play there would look terrible. And I think that's the only other thing you can do is, I mean, even if he quote unquote doesn't care about the money, well, at least screw him out of a season's worth of revenue. I mean,
Well,
do something like
the
don't keep
season-
going to the games.
The passes were already bought, though, right?
Yeah, but they actually did, like the crew like gave them refunds.
Oh, okay.
So no matter what, do not go to any games next year.
Yeah,
period.
I mean,
like finish the season out. Hopefully they win the championship and they're playing in an empty stadium next year, because it'd be hilarious. That's what I say.
What a disaster. What an unmitigated disaster.
Yeah. Oh well. I mean, I will say it's also kind of hard in Columbus because the city is absolutely dominated by Ohio State football too. And then that's why like there'll never be an NFL team here, for example, because they can't compete with the OSU brand. But I don't know. Whatever. It is what it is. But
What else do we have in Columbus news?
so this isn't quite. It's Hyperloop news, but it's not Columbus news, but it's Hyperloop news that I thought was worth sharing. So there's a Hyperloop firm called a Revo, and they want to create a 200-mile-per-hour Hyperloop from downtown Denver to the airport.
I got a question for you. How many Hyperloops exist?
I don't know. Probably none, like actual.
I don't
Hyperloops.
think
there's
it-
like test ones.
I
but,
don't think any Hyperloops exist. So how can there be Hyperloop firms?
No, well, it's just called marketing.
Are they like
just get together and they're like, we'll build this thing.
Aren't they like R&D firms?
No, I don't think so. It's like, like all those Bitcoin things, like cryptocurrency things. Like you come out with a white paper, and I'm doing air quotes here, where you like prove that your thing's like good, and then you just market it a bunch, and then you just dump a bunch of money. Like you make a bunch of money, then you just like do it. Like you just get out of there.
Most don't even put out white papers anymore.
Yeah, I mean, why bother if like idiots are still gonna buy it anyway? But anyway, so the company plans to hire like 40 or 50 people, I guess, and then put in 10 or 15 or 20 million dollars into like a new test track and all this stuff. So what was funny was that like it's like to the airport and back. Like why not just? I mean, why do you need a Hyperloop to do that? Why don't you just build like a really fast train? And it's a lot cheaper.
Investment money.
Yeah, but like, why are idiots investing in that? That's what I don't understand. It's just like vaporware. Like a train's a real thing. Like that's a proven technology. Like, just lay down some tracks, or build a subway. Like do something. Like why do you need this like vaporware Hyperloop thing? I got to get to the airport 200 miles an hour. It's just so dumb.
Well, here's the thing: if you get it right, you get some of the components right, then maybe you get bought out by, I don't know, like.
Well, I think, I mean, I guess it makes sense for the scam artists, but I don't think it makes sense for the city. Like I wouldn't even like if somebody right now came to Columbus and they were like, hey, like we need to build a Hyperloop to the airport. Like I wouldn't even let them pass like the front door of the secretary. Like, no, get out of here. The only serious one is like the Columbus, Chicago, Pittsburgh, because like that makes sense. Like you're going from all these cities to the airport, like 200 miles an hour to the airport. Like you really need that? Like I think that's stupid. Anyway, so I just wanted to complain about that because
right.
Columbus is in the Hyperloop talk, so I think it's sort of related.
All right, what's next?
Okay, so there's a good. This I mostly just wanted to share the article. This came out October 30th of this year from WOSU, and it's called "Same City, Different Worlds," and more or less what it ends up talking about is like economic segregation, like here in the city of Columbus. So I don't really have too much to say about the article itself. I just wanted to mention that and then put it up in the show notes because I think it's important for our readers to, especially, I tend to think people listen to podcasts skew towards higher income. That might not be a...
Oh, I definitely think that's true.
Okay, so, well, as long as you think it's true, at least I don't have to argue about it. So, I think it's important for people to listen to this podcast who may be more advantaged to take a look at this article because I thought it was pretty well written, and take a look at some of maybe the barriers that other people are facing here in the city, and then do a better job of like understanding things like economic segregation. So, and it's not even like it has nothing to do with like race, right? It's like where people are actually living.
Well, so not directly, but yes, indirectly. Right, because I mean it's undeniable that like let's say the African American community is lower income in general than every other. I mean, so it is related to some extent.
Yeah.
And that part's always unavoidable.
Yeah.
It's also worth noting that you see that there's this sort of layering of how incomes go. The most dense core part of the city, it tends to be high income, and then right outside of that tends to be lower income, and then outside of that where you have the suburbs tends to be higher income, and then outside of the suburbs and rural areas tends to be lower income.
Yeah.
You have this sort of rainbow expansion of incomes growing and shrinking in these belts.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I largely just wanted to have it added to the show notes, and then I guess we could like comment in a little bit. And some of this is related to like the Smart Cities initiative and why the city won is because areas like Linden, I think was like the case they used if I recall correctly, and the problem was like they had infant mortality was like some astronomical number like higher than like a neighborhood like right next to it, for example. And the area and part of the reason is like lack of access to medical care, lack of access to like public transportation so they can actually like get to jobs and like work and make money and get health insurance and like those types of things. So the article touches on some of those underlying problems. So I just wanted to basically to share that. So
so you mentioned earlier you wanted to talk about the Columbus general fund budget, right?
Yeah, so I think this is a good article here. Well, that'll take a while. So let me so before we do that, I also just wanted to mention that there was an article that came out. Apparently, so there's an area like it's called the Olentangy River Corridor, and so we have a link here. And I just want to mention this too, that basically they're submitting proposals to completely transform that area, and some of them look laughable. So there's one, it's really really funny. So this one is oh man, you can look at that, Ben. That's what they imagine it. So Trevor, you can look too, I guess, if you pull up the article. But so this one picture is basically there's like a beach, and then there's like this blue water, and it's like that's like like the river, and then there's like the Goodyear blimp, and then it's just like where all these, it looks to me like white people, they're like out on this beach and stuff, and it's like obviously none of these people have ever been to Ohio or Columbus for that matter, because there's absolutely nowhere in this city whatsoever like along any of those rivers you're gonna just like build a big beach and then have blimps and stuff like that. It's beyond stupid looking. So I just wanted to also mention that it's interesting to see like one of the proposals looks really good. So the peninsulas like where the two rivers meet, like Scioto and Olentangy, one of these looked really cool, and it's like the second to last one, and it's like this big like pedestrian like walking path and all this kind of stuff, which I thought that looked great. But then there's like that one laughable one, which is just the end one. It's just like absolutely no imagination whatsoever.
I mean, there are a lot of them that aren't ideal. They just I don't think they understand where our water is sourced from. First of all,
yeah.
So you know what's actually happening here? There's a little image manipulation going on because these are government contractors, and you can say and you can lie and you can bullshit about whatever you want till you get the contract, and then the government's fucked.
Yeah,
that's how it goes.
That's pretty. Yeah, well, I guess that's pretty standard stuff. So, okay, so let's move on to the big Columbus news, and so I have a breakdown of the budget here. So the mayor announced the city's 2018 budget, and so I'm going to go through line by line. There's I think a dozen, and some of them maybe we can comment on. Some of them probably aren't worth commenting on, but So I'll just go, and part of these are like initiative priorities too. So it's not just like, hey, we're spending X amount of dollars. It's like we're also going to support this. So to start with, these aren't ranked in order of importance. They're just ordered. Well, they're unordered, so they're just listed. So the first one I have here is from the proposed for the budget is support of the Smart Columbus team as they implement the building blocks for using transportation, powered by holistic solutions, integrated data, and give Columbus residents access to opportunities that empower them to live their best lives. I'm glad they're continuing to support the Smart Columbus team, because if not, that would be like beyond absurd.
I mean, it'd be embarrassing after we won.
Yeah,
after we just
it's
dominated every other city.
I almost wish they would do that, just because it'd be so stupid, and it'd be so like everybody would be so outraged about it that it'd almost be worth it.
Eric, we already have one of those ridiculously stupid, doesn't make sense things. Like the whole crew thing is that.
Yeah, hashtag ship the crew. Hashtag ship the smart city.
do you
send
just
it to Austin? Send smart cities to Austin too. Like we'll just send that there. Let's send the crew and smart cities team to Austin.
We'll help them win the Amazon bid. It'll be great.
Yeah, send Amazon there too.
And then we'll move to Austin.
Yeah, I am not moving there. I've been there. It's a great city, but it's not like. It's not like it's just like it's a better weather, prettier Columbus. Like, okay, I'm not uprooting my whole life to go there. Anyway, so that was the first item. The second item, $600 million for public safety. So that includes the mayor's comprehensive neighborhood safety strategy, 70 new police officer or recruits, and 80 new fire recruits, and the continued implementation of the body cams. I'm a fan of all of this. I actually believe the budget is lower. The actual like the amount spent, like the $600 million, is lower than it's either lower or the same as the previous year, which I'm cool with. And I don't know the entire gist of the comprehensive neighborhood safety strategy, but if it includes actual police officers walking down streets, then I'm a huge fan of it, because that's, I think, one of the issues that policing strategy falls into is like. The cops are just like blazing through these neighborhoods, and like they don't give a shit at all, and they're just like driving down the street and like just looking for stuff, versus, I don't know, walking around and interacting with the community and saying, hey, like I'm not a monster, like I'm here to like try to make this place better.
Well, the problem is there's a lot of Columbus, and we don't. I mean,
yeah.
we simply don't have enough police for that. Like,
well, I mean, if they spent less time perched out on like I-71, like catching people to generate ticket revenue, then sure, we do have enough police officers. But
I don't think that's true, right?
Nah.
What's if you want people walking beats, what's actually going to happen is nice areas like where you live are going to have cops walking beats.
No, I don't even want them around me. I want them patrolling like the neighborhoods that need better like patrolling. Not because they're like dangerous or something like that, but areas where like they don't have good relationships with police officers, because police officers are just blazing through and whatever.
Well, there just aren't enough bodies.
I mean, like, I don't know. I guess I don't know if we know, either of us can really debate that, because we don't know if there are or not.
Yeah, I mean,
but I mean, I get what you're saying, but
I mean, if you're interested, I could reach out to somebody I know who works at CPD and
I don't want to know. I'm going to just live in my ignorance.
That's fine.
But I also am a big fan of the continued implementation of the body cams. So that's
yeah. I mean,
that's
I'm generally really pro body cam,
yeah.
And the interesting thing about body cams is I think at least 90% of the time they end up sort of favoring the cops, which really shouldn't surprise anyone, especially because like that's their job, right?
Yeah.
But they cut down actual complaints from citizens a lot.
Yeah.
Because a lot of complaints are like people who know they're being recorded,
or like false positives and stuff.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Next line.
Yep. So next one is $220,000 in conjunction with this. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So sorry. I was reading one line and I started reading like the next thing. I guess my brain's going too much coffee. But $220,000 in conjunction with the Franklin County Juvenile Court to expand Columbus Recreation and Parks Department job readiness program, in addition to $600,000 for other youth jobs programs. Big fan of anything like that. So. I mean, as long as it works too. Like, I mean, I'd like to. I hope that they have and are collecting metrics to show if we do X, it results in Y or something like that, and then see if the program's actually.
This is less than 1/3000th of our budget, so I just don't care.
Yeah, but I mean, it's it's a good thing. It's still a line.
I'm just saying it's a very, very small amount of money.
Yeah. So $7 million. Next item: $7 million in the Department of Neighborhoods to support 19 area commissions. My Brother's Keeper, the New American Initiative, the creation of the New American Leadership Academy, and other and comprehensive neighborhood planning efforts in Linden and Hilltop. Cool. I mean, need to support those places. Need to do something. So I don't
Yeah.
know what I don't really know what my brother's keeper is and like those things, but if they're as cool as they sound, then that's good.
I mean, yeah, I can't have an opinion on an organization I don't know anything about. I mean,
Yeah.
there are bad nonprofits that
Yeah.
aren't effective.
Like your favorite.
Susan G. Komen
Foundation.
is so. All right, next line item.
Okay. um, I can't stop laughing because it's funny. All right. So funding for the Office of Diversity and Inclusion in the amount of over. This is a weird way of phrasing that. In the amount of over $1.3 million will continue to support supplier diversity outreach. The work of the Columbus Recruitment Task Force and implementation of the city's workforce diversity strategy. If you don't have a comment, I'm just going to go on the next one.
I mean, just hopefully the head of that doesn't get fired for wrong thing.
Yeah. Which we'll talk about in a minute. Continued funding for the Columbus Women's Commission will be used to dismantle barriers and improve the economic position of women with initiatives like the Susan G. Komen Foundation. No, I'm just kidding. With initiatives like the Columbus Commitment, achieving pay equity. Well, men and women should have equal pay for equal work. So I support that. Although, one thing I've been thinking about, this is a little bit of an aside, is like, I think there are some cases where men are going to get paid more because they just like negotiate. And like they're like not a, and I don't know if that's just I don't know if that's just like a male thing. Or
Maybe
something,
we should do what
but,
Reddit does, Eric, where you can't negotiate any salary.
Yeah, I mean, we don't pay for anybody, so we're not going to do that. But
I mean, well, what I'm saying is like maybe we as a society should just not allow negotiations.
Yeah, I don't think that's a good idea because then you're going to get people who are really smart or really good, and then they're going to be like, well, I'm working working just as hard, I'm working way harder than this person, not getting paid, and whatever.
I mean, that type of thinking is why government software developers are so universally mediocre and terrible.
Yeah,
because you can't negotiate if you're a government employee.
Yeah, but you do have job security at least. So anyway, definitely support any initiative though that's as long as it's achieving results. So I do want to say that with the caveat that I support. I do not support initiatives that are not achieving the results that they want to achieve. Now, of course, you can't just try like one time and then expect the world to change. But as long as if they're not trending towards their goal, then that failed. Like let's try something different. So with that being said, I support anything like this that's working to achieve pay equity.
What else we got?
All right, so maintain funding for Celebrate One, dedicated to cutting infant mortality by 40% and racial disparity in half by 2020. I don't know what cut racial disparity means, but I'm definitely on board with less dead babies, which is probably a little bit morbid way of saying that, but that is what it is. And then I got 4 more. So $4.5 million for the Department of Education for Early Start Columbus funding to support the number of pre-kindergarten classroom slots and increase the quality of the programs. Hell yeah, all about that. Again, as long as they're achieving good results. So next item, continued investment in Department of Development's housing and business incentive portfolio that invests in Columbus neighborhoods by creating more jobs and driving long-term stability for the city. And then support for comprehensive review of city operations. Cool. Hopefully you can save some money. And then continue to reach the goal of a $75 million balance in the rainy day fund by end of the year 2018, and then $80 million by 2020. So that's not the entire budget, but we're also going to post a link here for the entire, I have the link for the entire budget that we'll post in the show notes if you want to nerd out. And
I really hate how vague these sort of objectives are.
Yeah, I mean so this was from 10 TV. So I think that they're probably trying to summarize it. I don't know if it was because you could read.
Right, you can see the for those interested, you can see the full copy of the budget at columbus.gov/2018 budget. 2018 being in numbers.
Yeah, like 2018.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you're actually interested in the budget, I'd recommend going there. Don't look to the 10 TV summary because there's a lot of vagaries that aren't ideal.
Yeah, which are great for a podcast, but not good for people who are really interested, that want to know more.
Policy-minded folks, right? The Hillary Clintons of the world.
Yeah, the Susan G. Comens of the world. Don't die, Trevor. Don't choke. Okay. So we're gonna. That was our Columbus. I think it wraps up for Columbus, and then we got some pretty cool. I think hopefully debatable discussion topics today, and then for our feature, we're gonna talk about Black Friday and I think that's gonna be a lot of fun. So do you wanna kick it off with the story from about EA?
Yeah, let's move on to our debate and discussion section.
I mean, you can if you want to.
Well,
I'm just saying, like, we could just, hey, I started recording, and I can just.
Yeah, well, we're recording right now.
Okay.
So we actually had a story brought to us by our very own Ben here.
Yeah. This is something that's so important to Ben every day. It's his number one problem.
So there has been a huge sort of debacle if you follow video games, and then if you don't care at all about microtransactions.
Or not just follow, like, if you have a smartphone and like you play. A lot of people play games on their smartphones. So, like, I don't know, Farmville, like that's what people play, right? Or is that a Facebook game?
It's a Facebook game, but I don't think it matters. So EA has actually introduced a huge amount of microtransactions into Battlefront 2, the new Star Wars game.
Yeah.
And they just recently rescinded them after massive outcry from the community and poor sales numbers.
Yeah. So, Trevor, so the game itself costs what, like $60 or $70?
I'm sure, yeah, it's a $60 game.
So what, like, do you recall like what the microtransactions were? Because I mean, I know like people are probably familiar with like. So some microtransactions like make sense. So and there are some games where they're called like vanity items,
or cosmetics is usually the term.
Yeah. So I mean, if you like, you can just play the game normally, but if you want like a cool skin and a skin being like a way something looks.
Yeah,
so
just
if you want like your
things that don't
to
affect
look,
gameplay.
Yeah. So if you want like a really cool looking rifle, or you want like your character to like be dressed in green instead of blue, or what have you, like those are like you just pay for that vanity item more or less, and what have you. So.
Yeah, so in this case, the big issue was paying for heroes. So like Darth Vader.
Okay.
And the ability during the Battlefront games, you get the ability at certain points to like play as a hero, and then you just like wreck everybody else because you're like Vader and they're like random, I don't know, rebels.
Yeah.
So that's a very cool feature of the game, right? But you don't want to pay you don't want to have to pay shell out tens of dollars for like.
And that affects gameplay too, right? So
yeah, no, you get to play as Darth Vader.
Yeah, so
you're paying to, yeah.
Yeah, so like, I don't know. I mean, I would guess some of our listeners are familiar with like esports and stuff. So I mean, this would be like, I don't think they would allow you to do this, but it'd be like, it's almost like cheating. It's like, well, you have the most money, so then you get to like have all the best characters and stuff, and it's just, it's not. I think it's terrible. For
wait, so are you saying League of Legends is not an esport?
Well, yeah, but you, but like when they're actually playing the game, I don't know. I don't know what
you basically can't play that game enough to buy all the champions without like using real money.
Well, but at least you could.
I mean, theoretically. Here's the thing: you also get coins in this game. It just takes many hours. It's the same thing as League of Legends, right? The model's not different.
Yeah, so I'm not a fan of that. I did want to mention really quick that so Reddit said, so apparently it's the most so what happened was and I kind of saw this on Reddit. I just kind of happened to glance upon it. So somebody was complaining. So the how this whole thing got started was somebody was complaining about the microtransactions, and then EA had this like really funny comment, which was like more or less the intent. So to start with, the comment was so EA, like, they'll respond to like customers on Reddit like they do any other social media site. So they said the intent is to provide players with a sense of pride and accomplishment for unlocking different heroes. Basically, they said, "Oh, we'll like look at it," and then it became the most downvoted comment on Reddit history. And Reddit said that they were getting like 2 million comments per day on this like issue. So everybody was super angry about it. Yeah, so
so it is worth noting they're not the first company to do this, though.
Right, it's a disturbing trend.
As a matter of fact, Ubisoft used this exact argument sometime last year about For Honor. They wanted heroes or whatever you call the people you play in For Honor, to be expensive because they wanted you to commit. I guess this was the logic, right?
Yeah.
But if this was actually the case, they wouldn't allow you to buy them. They wanted you to sort of commit to who you were purchasing.
Yeah.
But I mean, we can all agree that that's nonsense, right?
Yeah.
Because they would literally just not allow you to pay for them otherwise.
Yeah. So And another thing was, so I guess EA responded by like reducing all the costs by 75 cents, and apparently they were like really expensive.
75%.
Yeah, 75%. But so I mean, when I was growing up, like I don't really play video games that much anymore, or really at all. But when I was growing up, downloadable content and like microtransactions were for things like vanity items or like a new expansion, or in the case of so there were games like Halo 2 when I was growing up, like they released like 5 maps that like everybody could play on, and then it was like $10 for that, and it's like that was like fine, that was reasonable, because like you're actually getting all this extra content versus like basically they're just giving you the skin, like having you pay $10 for like the skin on a game. And it's like I think they've gone way overboard with that.
But
especially EA.
You know why it's happened though, right?
Oh, because money.
But why? But why money, right? So
money.
Listen. You're in a market where you're competing with other people. If other people so other people are engaging in this microtransaction thing.
Yeah.
Some people aren't going to want to play the game at all because that's the case, right? So you're losing money. Yeah. Other people are going to buy items that are their microtransactions. You're going to gain money.
Right.
So clearly, based on the fact that this is a growing trend,
it's more profitable to.
Yes, it's much more profitable to do that.
Yeah.
Not to mention the reason it's actually happening. I think the sort of base core reason is that you can't raise the price of video games.
That is true. I think if you look at the actual cost of like if you just go to the store and you just buy a game off the shelf, I think it's actually cheaper. Adjusted for inflation than it's ever been.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah. So
games were $60 back in like 2005.
Oh yeah, even before they were $60, dude. They were $60 for like PlayStation 1 games.
I thought
maybe they were like 50.
Yeah, I thought they were
$49.99.
Yeah, I thought they were 50.
But still, even.
But yeah, games
right.
every single year that the game price stays at $60, which it has been.
Yeah.
Games have been the cheapest they have ever been, and that continues to be the case.
So
they're going to try to make the money somewhere, right? And the market has shown if you sell a game for more than $60, which occasionally happens,
right,
the market eats you alive. People won't pay $75. People won't pay $70.
Right.
So
what my response to that though is I think the companies should just make less money and then produce better quality products. But that's just me, wanting to have the world be a better place. But
I mean, why don't you start a company and then make no profit?
I'm not saying don't make any profit. I'm just saying, make a better product and then just make a little bit less money. And then,
well, the other thing is too, you have to remember every game they make is a venture, right? There's a risk of every game they make failing, right? Yeah. Maybe the audience just isn't there by the time it comes out or whatever, or maybe maybe like the game Battleborn, you come up with this great idea, right? And just before you launch it, this great game which doesn't really have an audience yet, just before you launch it, Overwatch is created, right?
Yeah.
And so Overwatch fills the same niche, and now you're competing with Blizzard, and you lose a ton of money.
Yeah, and you know why they lose a ton of money when they compete with Blizzard? Because Blizzard puts out superior games, and they don't infest you with microtransactions.
Well, what I'm saying, though, is that, Battleborn was made by a much smaller studio. Battleborn was made by 2K. What I'm saying is every game is a venture. Every game has risk behind it. So the games that succeed not only have to pay for themselves, they have to pay for the failed games.
Yeah, I get that.
And it's the same with movies and books.
What I'm saying is, like, you just calculate that in, and you just, like, put out better products and make less money.
Well, what do you think EA's margin is?
Oh, I don't know, but I bet they're making the downloadable content itself. It's like you could have one guy or girl sitting in a studio making all these skins and stuff, and then every time somebody buys one, it's like free money. Like you just build the content like one time, and then it's just free. They're just just images.
Like, nothing's free though. Everything has an opportunity cost.
Yeah. So what they do is they just they'll hire out some contracting studio and be like, hey, like make us a skin of Darth Vader. That company makes that. EA has it, and then it's virtual, so they just copy. It's literally just we need 1 billion copies of it, and then each one of those is just money.
But every sale is, every sale has a end tail, right? There's a finite amount of money every one of these virtual things is going to make, and a finite amount of money that it's going to cost to produce.
Yeah, it's not
infinite money. Nothing is ever infinite money.
Well, yeah, but it's like very high margin.
It might be.
I don't see how it couldn't be.
And even so the thing is, even if their margin grows, they're probably going to use that money to invest in riskier products, right?
Well,
for more niche markets.
I don't think EA is a very risk-taking company, just to pick on them. But I get that. I get that sentiment. I'm just saying they could make a little bit less money and then make a better product.
Maybe. But the thing is, this is expanding into much smaller companies too.
Well, like I have a problem with like we always got to make more money than we made last year. How about we always make money?
Well, what
and
if
we make enough money to secure us from like being destroyed by like a big failure?
Well,
like,
what
I'm
if
fine with
you
that.
what if you can't compete in the space though?
Then get out of business? Like I mean I don't know like
Well,
what else
so-
are you supposed to do? Like
So here's the thing: you're competing against EA. EA has microtransactions. You're
Yeah.
trying to be moral and not have microtransactions.
Yeah.
You lose in the
no,
market.
you're not as big as they are, but you can still make money.
What I'm saying is, Eric, you lose. Like no one's
I don't
gonna-
think that's a loss. Like I don't know. I just
you don't have the budget that they do because their budget is coming from the profit.
okay. So then nobody should ever make independent games.
What I'm saying is, if you're operating on the $60 level, and most indie games aren't, that's why I'm
Yeah.
differentiating here. If you're operating on like the I have a game company who's making a $60 game level, if you're competing with a similar product up against somebody who has microtransaction money funding their budget,
Yeah.
their budget's going to be larger and they're going to produce a better product. Well,
See, I don't think a larger budget necessarily translates to a better product. I mean, I get what you're saying. I'm
So-
just saying that companies like EA.
so
could
as
be
far
less-
as graphics, I think it definitely does.
yeah, but so what I'm saying is companies like EA could be less of bad companies, and they would probably even make more money if they just put out a better product. And they could put out a better product by getting back to the basics of providing valuable microtransactions, valuable downloadable content.
What I'm saying though is you're trying to fight the market. You're trying to fight economics right now.
How is that trying to fight economics? It's just you put out a better product, and then like you'll end up making more money. It'll work,
Okay, well, let's say EA starts behaving in a better way
which will never happen.
in Eric's eyes, right? And
Yeah.
Ubisoft doesn't. Ubisoft is
Then
going.
people will be like EA fanboys, and they'll start buying their product and saying, "Well, I'm not buying Ubisoft products because they freaking gut me for every nickel and penny to have me even play the game."
But do you think that really happens?
Yeah, I think that definitely happens.
Do you-
I will not buy any game where it's like, well, you got to pay $300 billion to download like the Darth Vader skin or whatever to character in order to like play the game and be better. Like I wouldn't pay for that.
Okay, well, let's say they lose. Let's say they lose like half their audience, right?
Why would they lose half their audience?
Let's say let's say Ubisoft loses half their audience due to people not liking microtransactions.
Sure.
That's really high. I don't think that actually happens, right? Look at League of Legends, most popular game in the world, same microtransaction system. I don't think it's going to happen, but what I'm saying is let's take that case.
I don't think League of Legends microtransaction system is quite the same because I think it's not. I don't think it's that hard to play enough to get the free characters, and then also they at least do the rotating champions thing. Like you can just play the game. Like you don't have to like like you can buy like the vanity skins and stuff. I'm just saying I don't think League of Legends is anywhere near as bad as like this example from EA.
I will bet you $100 right now that that it is more time consuming to buy all the champions than it is to buy all the characters in Battlefront 2. I will bet you money.
I don't know much about Battlefront 2, so I can't. But even so, like you don't have to buy all the characters. Like just don't buy them all. Why do you like?
Well,
you
just don't buy all the characters in Battlefront 2. Just don't buy them all.
Well, the difference is EA is a shitty company.
Riot's also a shitty company. Riot's owned by Tencent.
Yeah,
You're not.
I don't know. I just disagree. I just don't think it's.
You just like League of Legends better. You're committed to League of Legends, and so
I don't even play it. I used to play it, but
you just asked me to play.
well, yeah, but I don't play like any. When was the last time I played was when we played together. That was like the last time I played because I don't even have a computer mouse. So
My point is just I think you're a little biased.
no, it doesn't have to be League of Legends. Like okay, what about World of Warcraft, or what about Hearthstone?
World of Warcraft's completely different. That's a subscription base, I think.
Okay, make Battlefront 2 subscription base, or roll that into like the Xbox Live package or something like that. I'm just saying.
But that's a completely different discussion. What I'm saying is it's similar. League of Legends is very similar. Guess what? You get coins from winning games that you can use to buy these heroes.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't. It just doesn't seem the same to me. I think League of Legends is fine.
I don't understand why
the model's fine. It just.
Okay, well that's the model we're talking about.
I think EA is a shitty company though, and they're doing it poorly though. That's the difference.
Why?
Well, okay, so why is League of Legends not the most downvoted comment in Reddit history? Why? But why is EA? I mean, I think the public's speaking out. Like,
free to play. That's the only difference.
Okay, so why? That's a huge difference, though. It's like I can just walk into the game and then I could play the newest hero like right out of the gate for like if I wanted to. You could buy the like little pack or whatever, or like pack of money, and then just like you got the latest hero like 5 seconds, and it's like $5 for that. Or you can play, and then like you get to try out the game, and then they have the free rotating champions. And, like you could play somebody new every week.
So are you then proposing that the market should move to free to play games where everything is a microtransaction?
I'm not saying everything has to be one way or the other, but I'm just saying you can do it right, which is what League of Legends has done mostly, or you can do it poorly, which is what EA's done. And I suggest EA not do it poorly and maybe make a little bit less money and have a better product. And I think that's better for your company. If you consistently put out bad products and you make your customers mad, you're gonna lose your customers.
I think both are bad, and I don't.
No, why is nobody mad at League of Legends?
People are mad at League of Legends.
So. I'm not mad, and I hate microtransactions. Like the Hearthstone one, it's like a perfect example. Like you can buy packs.
Wait,
you get free packs and stuff.
Weren't people just like exploding over Hearthstone like 2 weeks ago?
I don't know. I didn't hear about it, so it couldn't have been.
It was. I mean, it was on the subreddit.
Well, I don't like read it. I just happened across. This was like big news because it's the most downvoted comment ever. Anyway,
I mean, people also just hate EA, so it's going to be more notable just because it's EA.
And I wonder how they build up that reputation. I bet it was through some pretty stupid business practices where you screw over your customers and you act like a big giant corporate jerk.
I don't think it was microtransactions.
Yeah, but they still have a history of being jerks. Like, why not just stop? Like, put your customers first, and if that means you make a little bit less money this year, then do that and then have a better product. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying like that's it. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying you can probably make a little bit less money and put out a better product, and in the end, that's better for your company. The profit over everything model is not sustainable. They'll go out of business doing that. That's why I say.
I mean, I don't think you're looking at the system rationally.
Well, I'm looking at it as it should be, which is build great products for your customers.
Okay, then why doesn't Riot?
I don't know. I mean, League of Legends is pretty great. Why does Blizzard? Well, like all the games they put out are pretty awesome. They even made StarCraft 2 free. They were like,
they're not the same.
Our game's so great, we made it free for everybody. And then you just have to you pay for the expansion so you can get this like the better story. Like, okay,
they're not the same at all.
They're both video game companies.
Okay,
like Blizzard could be like, you want the latest.
What I'm saying is you can't compare Blizzard and Riot.
But you're just throwing out comparisons though.
I'm comparing EA to a company you're very familiar with.
I don't think you can compare a free to play game with a game you pay for then.
Okay, well I mean, why don't you compare it to say Overwatch? Right?
League of Legends to Overwatch?
No, compare Battlefront to Overwatch. I think
is Overwatch free to play?
Yes.
So you can't compare them because.
Well, no, sorry, it's not. And they have loot boxes, but the loot boxes are only cosmetic. That's a much better system.
Yeah,
right?
I don't. That's what I'm saying. EA should do stuff like that and quit being jerks, and then they'd make more money.
But I mean, they still have loot boxes.
Okay, but it's like a non-jerk way of doing it, and that's why everybody loves Overwatch and everybody hates EA.
So what makes it a non-jerk way? Because you can't can't pay to be better than somebody.
Well, that probably helps. Just do whatever Blizzard does. It's probably the right thing to do, and they should just do.
Well, that's not what Riot does.
Well, I'm not saying I didn't say Riot's the best company ever. I just said the League of Legends was.
You were defending them when I made the comparison.
I just said it was fine. I just said they're free. It's a free to play game. You get rotating champions. You can play. I've spent like next to zero on that game. I think I bought one pack when I was playing it every day. And then besides that, all the rest of the champions I've earned.
You don't
I
have
just like saved up and like bought them once in a while. I was like, oh, after I had the free to play, I was like, oh, that person's really cool. Like I want to play that person. I just like.
You don't have to engage in any microtransactions in Battlefront 2. None.
Okay, but then other people like buy and then they get better stuff.
Oh no, other people buy champions in League of Legends and now they have access to more options.
More options versus being able to have like a competitive advantage.
That is a competitive advantage.
But everybody okay, so if EA does free rotating Darth Vader, then fine, then you can make that comparison. And then the game also has to be free to play. So if Battlefront 2 whatever is, first of all, the original Battlefront was great, but the Battlefront 2, if it's free to play and then they do rotating like competitive advantage, then I'm fine with that.
So why does the free to play aspect matter?
Because you're paying $60 for a game, you're paying $0 for a game. You can't complain about anything if you're not even paying for the game.
I don't buy that at all.
Why? It's $60 versus $0.
You can't complain about a game at all. You can't complain about a product at all if it's free. You can't complain about Facebook, Eric. It's free. You can't complain about Twitter.
I'm not complaining about Facebook features. I just think it's a bad product.
Okay, well, I mean, you can think that League of Legends is a bad product.
I didn't say
the argument that something is free so you can't complain is nonsense.
I'm in this context. I don't think it's nonsense because it's like, well, just don't play the game then.
Well, just don't use Facebook. Just don't use Twitter. Why do you keep complaining about
I'm
it,
not
Eric?
complaining.
It's not affecting your life.
Well, they actually do. They do affect our lives. So that is one key difference. You know that's true. Facebook and Twitter definitely have an effect on our lives. The president tweets and then markets move. Like things, they do affect our lives. But the only thing I'm saying is,
can you at least agree that the argument that something is free so you can't complain about it is bullshit? Full stop.
I'm not. That's not the argument I made. So
what's the argument?
The argument I made was, if you're going to compare these two games, if you want to, because I don't even think you can really compare them, but if you want to make the comparison that between Battlefront 2 and League of Legends, then one of those games is free, the other one costs you $60, and then you're complaining about like the advantage of like the champions and stuff. One of them gives you free rotating champions, so eventually you can play every champion. The other one doesn't.
Well, we don't know. We don't know that that's the case. You're making an unsubstantiated
that's
claim.
Definitely the case. Otherwise, people wouldn't have to buy them. Either way, you know what? EA is a shitty company. I don't even care. I'm just done. Because my larger point is they could do things that are better for their customers and make a little bit less money and will make more money in the long term. And that's the point I wanted to make with that. So they could just stop being like crappy, and then they wouldn't be the most downvoted comment ever.
I mean, it used to be Activision who everybody hated. They just sort of
didn't
fell
they get
to
bought by EA?
No,
Blizzard.
They got bought with Blizzard.
Yeah, and then look what happened. Now they don't suck. I don't think they really exist anymore.
Well, I think they're really small now. Guitar Hero died off. A lot of their series died off.
Yeah. Well, see, even like Guitar Hero is another good example because like you pay for like the songs, right?
Maybe they should have EA'd it up more, made more money.
Yeah, and then I wouldn't have played World of Warcraft for like 15 years.
I know I didn't mean Blizzard. I meant Activision with their series.
Okay, well, I think we beat that to death. So
that didn't. What? No,
okay.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say we can move on, but you were gonna say something.
Oh, I was gonna say that didn't take as long as you think it might have thought that discussion took.
Oh, I felt like it was days. Like I probably missed 4 days of work. All right, so in related news, Tesla unveiled an electric semi truck. So it's not really related, but so that's news. We know that's been. I think people have known that that's been in the works though for a while. So the unveiling of that wasn't really news. But what I wanted to talk about, which I do think is interesting and I do think is newsworthy, is that Walmart and a few other like stores, more or less.
Mic up a little bit. Huh? Pull your mic up a little bit.
So Walmart and a few other stores. Well, I'm talking like right into it. Walmart and a few other stores have basically already signed on to like buy Tesla semi trucks. So I think that's actually newsworthy and actually interesting. So like there was the article we have linked here, just because I wanted to make it like a little less mainstream, was a Canadian grocery store is buying 25 of their trucks. So I guess they had to put down like a $5,000 deposit or something like that. But I thought that was kind of interesting. So it seems like companies are, at least some companies are pretty eager to try these out and see if the electric semi truck is better than the old diesel semi trucks. So.
I imagine for like Walmart, it's probably just a POC for them, right? They're just
right. No, you're 100% correct. It's just like hey, let's buy a few of these.
Yeah, let's see the long term effects of ours.
But the trucks, as far as I know right now, are primarily like short haul distance. Like I think the range is like 600 miles, which would classify it as like a short haul type vehicle and stuff. But overall, I mean, I think it sounds like a good thing. So one of the issues with it's like a chicken egg problem, right? So like if nobody buys electric semi trucks, so then the infrastructure gets built to support those, then, or if nobody builds the infrastructure, they won't build the infrastructure until the truck's there. So like you kind of have you know what I mean, like you have like a chicken egg problem. So it's good that Walmart's doing their like proof of concept, buying a few trucks or whatever, and then some of these other companies are at least committing to doing putting down the deposits. So
I don't think it's chicken and egg so much as it's something that sort of the market has to wobble back and forth in order to expand, right? You have two things that are necessary on each other, so you need a little of A to get a little of B to get a little more of A, a little more of B. That's how these certain market correlated things tend to go.
Yeah. So what I think, so one of in the article we have, I think So one of the stats from it was if so they would have as many as I guess 350 of these. The goal is to have 350 of these in like on the road by 2030, and it would have the equivalent of taking 20,000 consumer cars off the road, like their CO2, like their carbon emissions and stuff. So, and apparently Walmart's buying 15 of these, but I guess this Canadian grocery is buying 25. So they're taking like a more serious.
They're taking a huge risk.
Yeah. So that's cool. Do you have any further comments about? Have you seen any pictures of the truck?
No, I haven't.
I was telling Ben earlier at the. So they finally did something incredibly right, which was the cockpit. It's like a cockpit, and it's just like there's one seat there. So instead of like the semi truck, where it's just like this bench, and like you're just sitting on the left side for no reason, it's like a cockpit. You're right in the middle. Like you have all your stuff there, and like I don't know, you're like into the road, like paying attention to the road. So I thought that was design wise, it was like, why has that not happened before? And it's because who knows why? It's just like can't do anything different or whatever.
For a lot of the long haul 18-wheelers though, they need some place to part of the reason those cabins are so big is you need place to sleep. You have you have electronics running, that kind of thing.
I think for the Tesla semi trucks, they have like they're going to have a long haul version with all that stuff and whatever. So, but it's cool. I thought they looked really cool too. So,
all right, what else we got?
All right, so and Trevor, maybe you'll be outraged about this. So Germany banned smartwatches for kids because they're concerned about kids being spied on. What are your thoughts?
I don't really like schools banning anything.
No, the country.
Well, I mean, so I get that, but I don't like
even if you're not in school.
I don't like if
you're a baby, like you can't even have a smartwatch if you're a baby.
Nah, I was thinking that they banned them for kids while in school.
No, just banned. Period. Like,
I'm not a fan.
Yeah, I don't really. I don't understand it. Even like I think people would probably think that we were pro like kids not having technology, like because it's going to warp their minds because we're like that. But this one I just don't get. Like why? Like what is it? Just like if you don't want it, like if you don't want your, I don't know. Is it like they're scared the parents are going to spy on the kids, or like hackers, or what?
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like one of those. Let's use the think of the children argument to pass something through that we want, kind of.
Yeah.
Kind of thing that used to be very common in American politics.
Yeah. So it says largely what they say is the aggressive move is a response to growing privacy concerns around devices aimed at minors. And then there's a quote here. It says, via an app, parents can use such children's watches to listen unnoticed to the child's environment, and they are to be regarded as an unauthorized transmitting system. That's a weird way. Like, I don't know, like, once you're, like, if you're, like, a 10-year-old kid, and, like, your parent wants to have you, like, have a smartwatch, so you, like, I don't know, have the time, and so they can, like, keep track of you, like, where your location, I don't know. I mean, it's a little Orwellian, but at the same time, I don't know if it's worth banning.
Yeah, I mean, the aspect of that I don't like is that, like, your parent can just be tracking you with this watch, and you have, like, as a kid, have no way of knowing that. Something, I don't know. I definitely don't think it should be banned. I do think that should be culturally very, very discouraged. So. Yeah. Parents do really weird shit with their kids.
When sometimes. I had kids, oh man, they're gonna wear like 15 smartwatches. I'm just gonna like
those
try to find ways to embarrass them all the time.
I mean, this is just like the newest step for those like parents who keep their kids on
helicopter
leashes.
Parents.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So moving on. So what's funny is we've talked about this. So let me start with a quote. There can be 12 white, blue-eyed, blonde men in a room, and they are going to be diverse too because they're going to bring a different life experience and life perspective to the conversation. This is a quote that got the head of Apple's diversity, and for the record, she's African American. It got her what term did I use earlier? Like when you resign, it's like the fired but like not embarrassed fired.
She was gracefully let go.
Yeah, she was gracefully fired, gracefully let go. So she's out because there was a bunch of outrage about this quote, which was, like we were talking before the show, was funny because we literally said this exact same thing, and it's 100% correct. You could get a group of 100 white guys together, and then you could take 100 people from all over the world, and those 100 white guys could still be more diverse than those 100 people from all over the world. So I mean, you can comment on this too. I think the problem is like people assume that like skin color automatically means diversity or not diversity. So here's a news flash. If like let's say you're like a black person, right, and you went to school in like a predominantly like white neighborhood, and you just like got A's and like nothing was different. Guess what? You're not diverse. Your skin color is not what makes you diverse. It's your life experiences. So it's a shame that because she said this, when even though it is true, that she was basically like gracefully fired for that. Because I mean it's true, and it's sad that people can't accept that like it's not your skin color. Skin colors. So I think what I mentioned before was skin color can be predictive of it because so for example like. I mean, a white person in America is most likely from America, right? Like you probably, although you have a different set of experiences, like you probably like college football and I don't know, you have a smartphone and a lot of, whatever.
I mean, yeah,
making stuff up.
But. So I've definitely felt this personally, even right. I've got friends. I mean, in college. Well, so most of my friends in college were sort of. Wealthier and more suburban or urban.
Yeah.
That's where they grew up. I think that's generally pretty common in college. So that definitely is not the case for me.
Yeah.
Even like African American friends I had generally grew up pretty wealthy, and they were definitely closer to like the average people I knew in college than they were to me. Right. Like somebody who grew up extremely poor and in a rural area. Like that was pretty rare in college.
But even so that's true. And then even if you include like. I don't know. I mean, what if you're just like a random? They always pick on white guys, and I don't really understand because I don't see how like a white woman's really diverse either. But I guess being a woman might make you diverse, but it's still like white. So if you're gonna pick on like white guys, I don't really see why you don't also pick on white women. But like you could be like a white guy or girl. Maybe your parents are in the military, like I don't know, because I've heard this story before, and so you end up living in like 15 different countries or whatever it is, like before you even graduate high school, like. You're gonna have like a crazy experience compared to somebody who just like I don't know like even like if you're let's say you're Asian or like you could pick any race or any nationality and like you just grew up in like normal like quote unquote normal suburbs. Some white person who like lived all around the world is gonna have a way more diverse experience than somebody who like lived in the same town their whole life and just went to school, right?
Yeah,
and just like played Xbox all day. Like I mean that's so it was sad that I mean we're not going to disagree here, but it's sad that she, basically had to quit because she said something that was 100% right, but it wasn't politically correct enough.
Yeah, I mean the current cultural movement to define diversity as being solely like a what gender, ethnicity, sex, or gender, ethnicity.
Yeah. She said, so she was apparently worked at Apple for 20 years, but she said. To continue, well, this is a different quote, but she said, diversity is the human experience. I get a little bit frustrated when diversity or the term diversity is tagged to the people of color or the women or the LGBT. And then eventually, like, she ended up, like, apologizing, blah, blah, blah. But, yeah, it sucks because, again, I mean, how many, like, rich white gay guys do you know? Right? Like, I know a bunch. Like, that doesn't make them diverse. Like they're doctors and stuff. Like they grew up in the suburbs. Their parents are rich, and then they went to like a good private school or something like that, and then they went to Harvard or something. And it's like then they're gay, so they're diverse. Like get the hell out of here. Like that's just stupid. It's not true at all. So I wanted to rant about that anyway.
Yeah, I mean I don't think we're gonna find much disagreement. We've talked about this before. Like
yeah, it's funny that she like literally said the same had the same argument we did.
Well, yeah, it's like the normal human. I'm not, I don't hate other people based on arbitrary characteristics.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Yeah.
Oh. All right, so Trevor, it's time because it's almost Thanksgiving. It's time for our feature, and I'm gonna go ahead and say I hate Black Friday, and I hate Black Friday month, and I hate Black Friday after Black Friday, and I hate Cyber Monday, and I hate all this consumerism crap. What say you?
Black Friday is okay. I can buy things online for cheaper sometimes. That's it.
It just drives me crazy.
Why?
It's like, well, so it's not like you necessarily, but like the people that are like, I gotta wake up at 4 a.m. to like get the mall to like get these deals, and then they're not even deals. Like so, TVs are a good example. So, I just bought a new TV. Intentionally bought it before Black Friday so I don't get scammed. So let's say like you're let's say you're Sony, right? Does just as an example, I'm not picking on them because every TV manufacturer does the exact same thing. So there are different qualities of like quality levels of TV, right? So maybe like a Samsung or a Sony or I don't know. Again, I don't know exactly, or like maybe more high quality, and then you have like generic TV who you've never heard of, like I don't even know what Apex I think was my old TV. Are they even still in business, right? So what they do on Black Friday, what these TV manufacturers do, they put their brand on that Apex TV and then they sell it. So they manufacture that, like they have that TV manufactured and they're like, hey, just put our logo on there and then sell it for cheap, and then people buy it. And it's like you're not even like you're buying a Samsung TV, but it's really a Samsung TV with Apex parts and Apex manufacturing and Apex quality. So you end up buying like a 4K TV, and then it's like, you plug in your Xbox and you can't even actually get I saw this, you can't even like actually get the correct display resolution because the TV is like a giant piece of crap. So
I think
that's just one example.
I think that's a kind of extreme example, though. I think in most cases, like Black Friday products are just like the same products for cheaper.
I mean, that does happen, but
what do you mean that does happen? That's most products. Most products can't. Okay, outside of electronics, most products can't even be fake that way.
Yeah, but see, what are the doorbusters? Everybody's like, oh, I gotta be like one of the first 50 people to get my like TV or like.
Well, a lot of doorbusters are actually, funnily enough, since we talked about this earlier, a lot of doorbusters are like video games.
Yeah,
like they're not gonna give you like an off-brand like Minecraft or something.
That'd be funny. It's like in this like really bad packaging. It's just like, oh, I got the off-brand Minecraft. What a deal. So, but what the issue I have is, I think, so I don't mind people. I obviously have no problem people shopping for sales, right? But in addition, so let's say I was okay with Black Friday. Let's just say I was like, Black Friday is great. Like everybody goes and gets their deals.
Big if true.
Yeah, big. Yeah. So a big if statement here. The issue I have is that this same Black Friday is turning into things like we have Black Friday all month, or we have like Cyber Monday is a thing now. And Cyber Monday I don't have too much of a problem with, but because it's kind of like a Black Friday. But now Amazon's like, well, you could get Cyber Monday deals all month, and it just takes away the whole fun of the whole freaking day. It's like, instead of having this like narrow window where you could blow a bunch of money on crap you don't need, now you can do it the whole month. And it's like, now it's not even fun anymore.
So
like, Black Friday used to be cool.
So it's taking away your fun because it lasts too long.
Yeah, it's like no point. Like there's no excitement anymore. Like nothing matters anymore.
So I feel like that, but I don't think that's a reason to hate it. I do think there's a reason to like it though, and feel free to disagree with me on this.
Don't you worry. I feel so free to do that.
Black Friday disproportionately benefits the poor.
That's interesting.
Because I don't know if you've ever gone to Walmart during like a big Black Friday thing.
Yeah, we didn't. I mean, that's what we did. Like me growing up, because we just single family.
Yeah. The people who tend to be disproportionately poor because they have more time to like have people. I mean, because time is a resource, and if you're making less, your time's less valuable, so you can spend it doing this, right?
Yeah.
So. And also, we had a big family, so we would always go, and you could get in like 5 different lines that way.
Yeah, I also, sorry to interject, I really do also like watching it on TV though. Like they send the news reporters there, and they're like, "Oh, can you believe how crazy it is?" And I'm just like, "Whoa, it's so crazy!" They're like, people die doing it and stuff. It is so insane.
But like, so the people whose time is worth the least get the most benefit out of it, and so I think that is that's a pretty concrete benefit because it allows people who normally wouldn't be able to buy products at the normal price to get things that they want.
Yeah.
Especially for Christmas, right?
I mean that's fine. But then that's what sucks when it's like, well, it's no fun now because it's like Black Friday all month.
Right. The competition aspect of it is gone a little bit, and that also caused prices to go up more, which. So the current state of Black Friday is certainly less advantageous to the poor.
I think Black Friday matters, and we need to bring back Black Friday.
You can't say that, Eric. You're gonna get us in some fucking newspaper.
For what?
Saying Black Friday
I guess that
matters.
kind of sounded like black. Yeah, I didn't mean it that way. I mean it's like it mattered. Like it matters. Like it was a thing before, and it was fun, and you look forward to it, and now it's like just generic.
We're gonna end up on the SPLC's list of
good.
Hate groups.
I hope we do. I've always wanted to be on lists. What was I gonna say? So yeah, so the other issue with Black Friday, I think, is so I do agree with you. Probably we don't have the stats, but it probably does help poor people if they like save up and then like that's their day, they go shopping for Christmas or what have you. But what I don't like is it's the consumerism aspect for people who that doesn't necessarily benefit. They're like, it's Black Friday, therefore I'm gonna go buy 5 new sweaters, and it's like they already have 5 sweaters, they don't need any new ones.
Yeah,
They're thinking they're getting 20. Oh, I'm getting like a doorbuster 50% off this sweater. It's like you're just you're just spending money. Like, stop spending money. You don't need to spend that money.
Yeah, I know people like
Yeah.
that, and I think it's dumb. But
Yeah.
my response to that is more like that's just that's just individual human beings being stupid.
Well, yeah, but I think it.
So they're encouraged culturally, but
Right.
I don't care, right?
But
Like,
no, you
lear-
should
learn
care.
learn to be like learn to be an independent, self-thinking
Well,
human being.
I think the thing is as a society, we should work to discourage consumerism. And I think having an entire Black Friday month encourages consumerism, which is to me, consumerism just means buying crap you don't need, or buying crap that you don't even really want. Like, you're just spending money because you're bored with your life. So, or like all the other like Black Friday deals or whatever they have going on. I think it encourages people to do consumerist things, which I don't like. They've ruined Black Friday because now it's not fun anymore, and yeah, that's it. For
All right.
Black
I
Friday.
mean, yeah. I mean, I think the day's all right. The sales through the whole month. I think it's partially just an attempt to like milk and fight for early Christmas money. The reason it keeps getting earlier and earlier,
Yeah,
is
I do like how it's like the day after the day after Black Friday. It's like the Black Friday for next year.
They're trying to outcompete other businesses.
Yeah.
And I think eventually it has to reach some kind of tipping point where like it just becomes irrelevant, right? Because
Hopefully.
what's happening is prices are flattening out, so the deals are getting smaller and smaller,
Yeah.
and the days are getting longer and longer. So
Yeah.
eventually, we're just gonna have like normal price stuff.
Well, the other, yeah, it's just like, hey, come buy stuff at the price that you expect it to be. The other, the other problem I had with, so this is more of a general Black Friday issue is, what ends up happening. So unfortunately, there was backlash against this in the past few years, and I think some of it at least is subsided. So people would have to come in at like midnight or like 10 p.m. on Thanksgiving and like work through the whole night to like get ready for Black Friday and stuff. And it's like, you're ruining people's Thanksgiving. So I guess, I mean, on the other hand, I guess there's people who want like overtime pay. I understand that, but at the same time, it's like we can stop buying shit for one day. And this also applies to Christmas, because day after Christmas is like another big sale day. But we can stop buying stuff for one, like let people spend time with their families. If you're a retailer, you probably don't need to be open, especially if you're Best Buy. Best Buy was really bad about this. Like, people don't even buying freaking TVs at they were opening at like 10 o'clock at night. So it was like Black Friday, like 2 hours before the actual day of Black Friday and all this stuff. So I didn't like that either. So
I mean, I tend not to care about it that much, just because we're I don't know. Where I grew up, like, people fought over who got to work holidays, because holidays often meant like 2.5 times pay.
Yeah, I get that, but like
That's how you pay for Christmas is working Thanksgiving for a lot of people. It's worth keeping in mind.
yeah, I know I mentioned it, but
So is that all we got?
yeah. So I guess everybody have a great Thanksgiving.
Have a great Black Friday.
Try not to get trampled to death during Black Friday, please.
Or trample anyone to death. We don't want to.
Yeah.
Or if you do, just please don't tell us.
Well,
we
tell
want no,
us, but
we want no
don't
involvement.
attribute it to like us at all.
I did this for Eric.
Yeah, definitely don't do that. But yeah, definitely everybody who's listening, all 5 billion people who listen to our podcast every week, have a great Thanksgiving, and we might see you next week, probably.
Yeah. Hope to see you next week.
Yeah.
This has been Columbus This Week.